Hi photographers, since today's photo sketchbook theme is vintage, I'm going to show you a few simple edits you can do in Photoshop to make your photos look more aged and vintage, have that vintage feel. So first you're going to go to photopea.com, that's Photopea.com. You're going to go File, Open to find your image that you took for today. And I'm going to go over a couple adjustment layer options first. So at the bottom of your layers panel, there's a half white, half gray circle. If you hover over it, it will say New Adjustment Layer. Click there, and the first option that I would like to show you is to make your photos look black and white, the days of film. So you're going to go to Hue Saturation adjustment, and you can play with taking the saturation all the way down to make it a black and white photo, or you could play with getting it just really dull with colors, as they wouldn't have been quite as vivid in the days of film photography. Then I'm going to show you an adjustment option with levels, just to dull down the contrast a little bit. So if you go to New Adjustment Layer and choose Levels, and you take these sliders and just bring them in a little bit closer together, you're just going to flatten the value scale of that photograph a little bit. So those are two adjustments you can try. I'm also going to show you some filters you can try. So if we go to Filter at the top of our menu bar, noise, you can add noise. So remember when we talked about ISO? Oh, make sure you're first on that photo layer itself and that you have that layer selected before you add noise. So Filter, Noise, Add Noise. So remember when we were talking about ISO and how in the days of film, a photographer would need to choose a higher ISO if they were shooting indoors or in dark light, but the trade-off would be a higher amount of grain or noise in their photograph. So you can play with how much grain or noise you want to add. You also don't need to add it, but it might give that vintage feel you're looking for. So I kind of like it at 20%. I'm going to hit OK. And then the second filter you can try is underneath noise as well, and it's dust and scratches. So when we had a negative, we would have to clean it in the days of film. So if you play a little bit with the radius, you can make your photo just a little bit dustier looking. I'm not a huge fan of this filter personally, so I'm going to leave it as X. But I'm going to show you another option if you want to give it a try. You're going to go into Google and you're going to search up dust and scratches. You'll get all these different styles of dusty black and white images. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to right click and save image as. I've already done that, so it comes down below. And I'm going to come back to my photo editor. I'm going to click and drag this on top to place it above this image layer. I'm going to drag that dust and scratches out to cover my photo and accept the sizing changes. Then I'm going to change my blending mode. My blending mode is where it says normal in the layers panel, just above the lock, the little grid or checkerboard, the paintbrush, and all those options. I'm going to click where it says normal, and I'm going to choose screen. Now, screen is a blending mode to take certain values, kind of make them less obvious or transparent completely, so that it shows through to have that texture in with the background layer. So I might not like it when it's this intense, but if I take my opacity down for this layer, I might take it down to maybe 40%. I might be happy with how that looks. I could also play with rearranging the image by going Edit, Free Transform, and maybe I like the top part that has more dust to be up here. Okay. One final adjustment that you can make to add some more texture so that it looks like a printed image that's been kept for many years. You could try looking up old paper or texture old paper in Google Images as well. You want to find something that's fairly high resolution, and some of them won't be. I'm going to give this one a try. So I'm going to go right click on it, save image as, save it to my desktop, and I'm going to jump over to Photopea, click on that image and drag it on top. It's going to come over top of the layer there, and then if I don't want it to be black and white, by the way, I have to take it above the hue saturation adjustment, and then I'm going to choose blending mode again where it says normal, and this time I'm going to try multiply. Okay, so I can try a variety of blending modes to see what works best. Multiply, I'm finding, works a little bit best with this one. And then I can take my opacity down with it if I want it to be a little less intense, or I can bring it above the entire layer stack so it's a little bit more prominent. All depends on what you're looking for. If it's too intense in certain parts, you can always add a little bit of a layer mask. A layer mask is going to hide certain parts of the adjustment, and the layer mask button is down below. It's that little white rectangle with a gray circle. So if I click there and go to my paintbrush tool in my toolbar, and painting with black will conceal what the adjustment is or what's in that layer, and painting with white will reveal it. So I'm going to paint with a large soft brush, and let's see if I can go even larger so I don't overlap. And I'm just going to paint there. Okay, so if I want to make it a little bit less intense of a mask, I can also reduce the opacity of that brush. Okay, so those are some techniques you can try in Photopea to make your photo look a little bit more vintage or aged. Give it a try and see if you like it. When you're all done, make sure you go File, Export As, and JPEG or PNG will work for your photo blogs. Can't wait to see your work that you create and post on your photo blogs. Good luck!